Don't let this whole mentality of making others happy or making other people respect you to be the number one thing on your list. Focus on yourself, be aware when you do it, and just realize that there's so many things that you can practice and do daily in order to get rid of this terrible habit. What's cracking? Welcome to another episode of The Excellent Life, where I teach you tips and tricks on how to live an excellent, happy, and blissful lifestyle. But this time, it's not an egg, it's a little stormtrooper. Today, we're going to be talking about people's pleasing. And before we start it, just make sure you stay for the end of the episode where I can give you my tip on how to live an excellent, happy, and blissful lifestyle. So let's go. So I bet you guys all know someone who is a people's pleaser, whether it's you, your relative, your friends, your coworkers, your church members, and you see them as being someone who is willing to do everything. And I mean like freaking anything, even if they don't want to. And that's the hardest part, because I used to be a people's pleaser, and I feel like I still have these traits of people's pleasing, but the problem is no one can grow as a people's pleaser, right? So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but there's a huge difference between someone who thinks they're kind and generous versus someone who is actually a people's pleaser. So if you think about it, someone who is a people's pleaser or someone who is addicted to the approval of other people will do anything for them, even if they don't want to. They can't say no because they think that it'll hurt their feelings. They are exactly like Yes Man, you know, the one that's Jim Carrey starring in, right? And he says yes to everything, even if he didn't want to. He said yes to like bungee jumping and all these different things when he didn't want to. But yeah, that can be great for being adventurous and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, when you say yes to everything, you can't say no. You're saying, oh, I'm so busy, but I'll do it. What is that showing? That's not showing great morals or values about yourself. That's not showing self-confidence or self-love. And I want everyone to live an excellent life. If you look at someone who is kind and generous, they stand their ground. They have their morals, they have their values, and they know exactly what they want. But the difference between generosity, kindness, and a people's pleaser is the people who are kind and generous, they can say no, they can say yes, they can say maybe next time. When you're a people's pleaser, you really need the approval of other people. And that's how I felt during the longest time. I feel like having these traits, having this mindset does come from your childhood or the experiences or traumas that you've been through, but there's always ways to improve yourself. And I will show you guys. People's pleaser, you really hate conflict, right? And especially when I was a big people's pleaser, I was so addicted to the approval of other people's thoughts and respect for me. I did everything for them, right? And because I had no values for myself, I had this sense of low respect and low self-esteem. But that's very bad negatively throughout our mindset. So there's a story. One time, this girl asked me out on a date, and she lives far away. She lived maybe an hour away. And because I was so much of a people's pleaser, I said yes. I didn't know her that well. I didn't think that we were compatible or attracted to her, but I ended up just going. I went an hour, spent $30 on sushi that didn't really, make me full. But I still went there. We watched a movie and stuff like that, and didn't talk to this girl ever since. And I feel like this could be a very extreme story, but it can also be, there's times where I would have to hang out with my friends, and if I just said no, I felt bad because I felt that I had to make them happy. So even when I was busy, even when I had schoolwork or work to do, I would say yes and say, okay, yeah, I can hang out for a little bit. Okay, one more drink. All right, 2 more drinks. And that completely destroyed my values. So those stories are funny and wacky and all that stuff, but what I realized is as a human being, we should all have our own thoughts, and it's okay to say no. It's okay to have our own thoughts. It's okay to hurt people once in a while, because you realize that just saying yes all the time, over and over and over again, what's gonna happen? You're gonna get used. People are gonna use you for everything. They say, hey, can you help me move? Yeah, sure, I can do it. I'm not busy or anything, but really you are. They're gonna be using for everything. They're gonna ask you for money. All this shenanigan that a people's pleaser just goes through. Everyone can stand up for one another, but we're shy, or our past traumas or past experience, we just want people to like us. So what are some things that you can do to be able to stand up for yourself, to not be a people's pleaser? I feel like some people, they really don't care what others think, but I feel like some other people really desire and crave this respect and approval of other people. So what can you do? Now, what can we do so we can get rid of these habits of saying yes all the time or being a people's pleaser? Well, we can do some of these things and really build upon ourselves, as a lot of the times we have this self-doubt, but I say it all the time in our podcast that everyone has the potential to be great. Everyone has the potential to reach their goal or their mind of where they want to be in the future, be successful. As much as someone will bring you down or laugh at you or hate on you, even if they're not happy, even if they're mad at you or sad because of you, really take the time to love yourself, stand your ground, and to really have that respect for yourself. Of course, have respect for other people, but this is how people do not stand and step all over you. You know, some of the things that I actually did that helped me to really get out of that mindset of people's pleasing is that, first of all, I had a journal, and I journaled everything that I would do or say or think or try to improve myself, right? So this is actually one of my journals, and I would write daily on just how I'm feeling, what happened that day, how things could be different. Another thing is to get rid of toxic people in your life, whether it's coworkers, friends, whoever it might be. We want positivity, and we want people to be real with you. If they're just there to knock you down all the time and not give you any positivity or any actual friendship or relationship, then what's the point? These toxic people, we shouldn't be searching or seeking the approval of toxic people. Never do that. Another thing that I did was be stricter on myself, as in I can only go out 3 times or 4 times every single week. If I go more than that, I have to say no. Or if it's already planned, then yeah, I should go and use it one of those times. Be really strict on yourself to where you don't have to say yes all the time. And just also have the realization that everyone is thinking about themselves as well. People want to say yes all the time too, or people care about themselves a lot. You are not the captain of their boat. You are the captain of your own ship. You're the main character of your own story. And I want all of you guys to just remember that. I know some of the people who are watching this might not be having the problem of people pleasing, but I'm sure you know many, right? So definitely be able to help others to realize that this may be a situation that people can really not pity themselves or have these negative thoughts, but to really stand up for themselves. I think another really big thing that I did was reading, because when I read, I really understood the perspective of another person. I said, these guys, they spent lifetimes and generations researching the things that they did, and it works. They're successful, they're quote unquote happy, and I want to be there. So I really took their knowledge, their education, and applied it to my own life. It's so amazing to see what education, knowledge, grit, motivation, all this combined into one big soup can make you happy. You don't need another person's approval, and I know I've said this a million times in this video. You don't need it to be happy. You don't need to make them happy. Really focus on yourself and you will get there. I promise you. Now here's a reason why I'm a huge advocate of not becoming a people. So I'm a huge advocate of you not becoming a people's pleaser. Why? Because I was a huge people's pleaser and I got stepped over. I was pushed around a lot. I didn't have any self-respect for myself. I had very low self-esteem, and as a people's pleaser, because you have low self-esteem, you desire and crave the approval of other people. You may be very depressed, stressed out, maybe burnt out, exactly like our last video. You can have all these different mental health problems, but what I'm saying is you can do it and you can stand for yourself. There's so many ways that being from this rock bottom or this negative mindset or desiring the approval of other people, you can get out of that and you can be the strong hero that you want to be. So recapping, it's okay to be a people's pleaser, but don't let that control your life. You are the captain of your ship. You are the main character of your story. So really focus on that. Don't let this whole mentality of making others happy or making other people respect you to be the number one thing on your list. Focus on yourself, be aware when you do it, and just realize that there's so many things that you can practice and do daily in order to get rid of this terrible habit. You can do it as long as you try and are motivated, and just make sure that whatever you want to do to become successful, you have to be independent and strong and disciplined within it. I believe everyone has a potential, and I know especially if you're watching this video, you want to have an excellent, happy, and blissful lifestyle. So go on and do it. Do one thing this week. Whatever was on that list, or even on your mind right now, saying no, or doing the things that you want to do, whatever it is, really think about it and execute it. Take action on it. Learn from my lessons, learn from my mistakes, and everything that I did, just apply it to your life. So at the end of all of my podcast episode, I asked my guests, all the CEOs, the business owners, all the professors and doctors, I asked them this question. Because we're called The Excellent Life, what is one tip for you to give someone in order to live an excellent, happy, and blissful lifestyle? But since I'm here just talking to myself, I guess I'm gonna have to give my excellent, happy, and blissful tip. So my tip is actually stolen from some of the guests on my show, like Cedric Norris Jr. or Brian Yu or Maggie Dong, and they talk about living in the now, living in the present. Do you remember that one movie, Kung Fu Panda? Master Oogway, he's about to die, and he says, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift, and that's why it's called the present. I think it's something like that. And yeah, today is a gift, today is a present. When you live in this moment, you really notice the small things and you're happy with it. I'm really happy just really living in the moment, making this YouTube video, or spending time with my friends or my family. And instead of worrying about the past, all these regrets, or thinking about your future, did I save enough of my Roth IRA? Did I put enough stocks? Like, focus on yourself now, because your future self will thank you. And I think when you live in the present, you can live the best. You don't have any worries, and you really just get to focus and have this mentality of living an excellent life. So that is my one tip that I'll give you guys today. If you enjoyed this episode on people's pleasing, please apply it to your life. Knowledge is power, but only when applied. And I want to thank you guys for being able to watch this video understanding of the research that I went through. So if you guys want to support me, give it a thumbs up, a like, subscribe, and share it to whoever needs to learn about people's pleasing. Again, thank you so much, and I hope that you stay safe and stay excellent. Thanks.